I'm taking a strap. I'm strapped up.
What's happening? What was that about?
Let's make the fight happen. We strapped the fuck up.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen. This is episode 62 of the SZN Podcast. You're joining us for. I'm your host, Cam.
I'm your host, Flows.
And the usual message before we kick off proceedings, make sure you check us out on all the streaming platforms. Audio to our episode drops every Tuesday. Visuals drop on YouTube on Thursday. If you go onto our Instagram and Twitter, there's a little link in the bio, and that houses all of our links. That's where you know that's where to find us. So make sure you like, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. But yeah, how you been, bro? You good?
Yeah, I'm good, bro.
Yeah,
chilling.
Some good topics to discuss this week. Let's go straight into it. Well, before we sink our teeth into the main topic of discussion, which is next week's super fight, I want to quickly touch upon the action that we've seen this weekend. There was some good fights yesterday. Let's start with the undercard of the cancelled White Wallin. So I guess it's called the Cameron McGhee fight card. Since White Wallin they got pushed out. It's always worth touching upon Alan Babic, probably the most entertaining fighter to watch in the world right now. I'm going to tune into every Babic fight as many Babic fights as I can, just for the entertainment purposes. Not much to say really. We knew Eric Molina was going to come to sort of pick up a check and be an easy fall guy, and that's what it was. But what killed me about that fight was, I swear, Babic dropped him with the first punch. The first combination Babic threw.
First 10 seconds
it was a 5-second knockdown, I think it was 5 seconds, wasn't it? The first 5 seconds.
It was, yeah. As soon as they engaged.
This guy's foot, I said, yep, I know what type of time Molina's on. This is going to be over real quick. And then, second round. It was interesting because Molina showed a bit of heart in that first round to sort of weather the Babic storm. And then second round came, he got hit with that same storm again. And this guy didn't want to know, man. That was it. Molina needs to finish, man. He needs to retire.
Yeah, he's done for. I remember his last fight against Fabian Woodley, where we both took a dive because my man was talking to the ref while the ref was counting, looking up at the ref, fully aware. I refused to get up.
Yep.
So
even the knockdown was suspect. It was like a clean punch, I swear.
Yeah, the eventual knockdown.
It was it wasn't.
He got knocked down a few times, but obviously Andy Lee and Cali Reese were killing him on commentary. Killing him.
Andy Lee said it was like what you call it. He said it was pathetic. He was going in on him, and rightly so, if you ask me. Yeah. I understand that you took the fight on a week's notice, but you always got to have that element of professionalism, right? With these kind of things, and this is a couple of times that we've seen him sort of put out this kind of showing. So you just question.
The thing is, he was having some success in there when he actually decided to fight, because he's got ability. We've known Molina for a while. He could fight. He's not wild. He gave Wilder hell. He gave Wilder hell. But he picks spots to fight in, and then other time he doesn't have the minerals to be a fighter from the looks of it.
Yeah.
We've seen him turn around and run it in the ring.
I was gonna say it's a hard thing, isn't it? Like you either have that in you or you don't, and I don't think he has that in him anymore. So he's happy to collect his check and head back to America. Is what it is for him. But he's old, isn't he? So
he didn't know what spot to pick to lie down on. He didn't know which logo on the canvas.
That's peak. That's peak. Yeah, man. Same old. Yeah. So I guess same. It's Babic has 9 fights, 9 wins by KO. It's the same old story with him. Once again, you look at Babic though. He's open to being hit. When he's wild in that, he gets caught, Babic, and I feel like we're just waiting for the day where he runs into a guy that can actually stiffen his legs properly. But we'll see in it. But for now, I'm still enjoying the Babic ride.
He's got a chin, Babic.
He has got a chin.
Because
he's small. Yeah.
He's small. And a few fights now, we've seen him get hit, taking some big hits, and he just eats them. He doesn't back off. He still comes forward.
Yeah.
And boy, he just needs to jab. That's what I need to see from him at least. Set up a shot. This guy just throws haymakers without jabbing.
Yeah. The size difference is crazy with him compared to all these guys. He's tiny compared to these guys. Like, he's only 6'1". Like, he's small. He's real small. He's punching above his weight. He comes in a cruiserweight and he's punching above his weight because purely off aggression, to be honest, aggression and work rate. Obviously, our guest Hayden alluded to it last week that, nowadays a smaller guy can beat up a heavy guy, off just aggression. Exactly. Like, it might have been a rarity back then, but these days the smaller guys are punching above their weight, and we can see with Babic. Obviously, when you get to quality, you question quality of opponents. That's another side of things. But yeah, we're seeing that sort of like the smaller heavyweights can put in work.
To be fair, the cruiserweights nowadays are bigger than the heavyweights back in the day. Anyway.
I mean, yeah, Cody's 6'5", 6'6", hits like a train. Like, yeah, like that wasn't the case. That wasn't the case back in the day. Holyfield was considered the big cruiserweight back then. He's only 6'3". Yeah, man, it's true. Like, the cruiserweights come big.
Yeah. And like we say, Babic is knocking out these heavyweights, like knocking them out.
It's like, hurting them.
So yeah, and he's confident with his size, regardless. A lot of these heavyweights have mixed it in a cruiserweight. Michael Hunter, Usyk, obviously, holding most of the straps now.
Yep.
Cody's going to end up there.
I mean, Wilder comes in at cruiserweight limit most of the time, anyways. In terms of weight wise, he comes in at about 15, 16. So yeah, it's something we're going to see a lot. And we'll see how it develops. But yeah, man, I always say to our listeners every time we talk about Babic, watch him fight. It's just exciting to watch. It's drama, it's aggression. You're seeing haymakers from round 1 to round whenever it ends. Yeah, man, and he's obviously his persona as well. In this build-up, he will say, I want to be knocked out. I want the ultimate. He's so funny. Man said, I want to be hurt.
He says he wants his own to go. He wants someone to take his own.
He wants his own. I respect it, man. I respect it.
I love that attitude.
Trust. Trust.
You don't give a toss.
That's that like Keith Thurman throwback. He used to say that all the time. He said, I'm not afraid to let it go. If you can beat me, beat me. I miss Thurman, man. For real, man.
He's really got to go. Actually,
I don't even know what he is. Anyways, let's forget Thurman. We'll quickly touch upon the main event. Cameron McGhee, women's boxing fight. So you already know what time it is. Bombs away from round 1 to round 10. This was a brilliant fight. This was a war. And I think it's probably my first time taking in Chantel Cameron like that, and I was thoroughly impressed. She's quality. She really, really is good. Her speed, her footwork, her aggression, the way she puts her combinations together. Man, I was really impressed with her working there, and I had her winning quite handedly, but it wasn't like a blowout because Mary McGhee was in that fight from the first bell to the last. She stuck in there. And she actually came on stronger towards the end because obviously Cameron, her work rate is crazy, Cameron's. And she would have used so much energy from like round 1 to round 7 or whatever. But McGhee was still there coming forward. They called it, they said she's like the Terminator. She didn't stop and kept exerting pressure and tried to stay in there. So, man, it was a really, really exciting fight for me to watch. I think there was one round where for a good 30 seconds, they were both against the ropes, just swinging, bro. I said, yo, what is this? They're just swinging. The work rate from both of the ladies was crazy to me, crazy. And that's what you get with that's what you tend to get with women's boxing. Yeah. It's always exciting.
They're all action, man. Obviously, I've seen a bit of Chantel Cameron in the past. Mary McGhee, I hadn't seen much of before, but I was very enthralled with her interviews.
I like her. Yeah. She's got great bags of charisma. Bags of charisma.
Yeah, great personality. So she's. It's always nice to have personalities in boxing as well. So she's someone I'll be checking for, even though she lost. And no controversy about the loss. But she's someone I guess she's quite old now anyway, but
yeah,
someone I'll be checking for because she put in a good fight. But then there was a skill gap in that fight. You could see.
Yes,
there wasn't a heart gap. They both came to fight, but Chantel Cameron, feet upwards, like her footwork was better. Her timing, her accuracy, some of the shots she was picking. She was throwing the jab better. She kept her form when she was in those exchanges. I think McGhee was losing some of her form in those exchanges, but great fight nonetheless, man. Great way to end the show.
Yeah, 100%. Shame about the main event loss, but still a good show regardless. Saw some good fighting, some good fights. We're gonna hop over to America because our boy Jaron Boots Ennis was fought last night, and anytime Ennis is gonna fight, we're gonna canvas him. I don't care. My favorite fighter right now, I think your favorite fighter is one of your favorite fighters right now. He was against Thomas Dulorme, who's been around the welterweight division for a while now. You usually see his name out there. Decent fighter. And Boots has blasted him out inside 2 minutes. Devastating fashion. Battered him. Very, very quick and easy. What can you say, man? It's Boots. he's that good.
You've got to say, no one's done that to him before. No
one's done that to Dulorme. No one. I've seen Dulorme go toe to toe with Jesse Vargas and Errol. It took Errol Spence, I think, 9 rounds to stop him. Was it Errol? No.
Terence Crawford.
I think Crawford. Yeah, Crawford. Sorry, yeah. I don't think it was 9 rounds. So it went on, but Crawford didn't do that to home. That's for sure.
But I know he's gone the distance with Ugas.
Yep.
He's coming off 2 losses, to be fair, but they didn't stop him.
Yeah,
they didn't stop him.
Yeah,
not in the first. Yeah. So, man, another chance to see our boy put in work.
And it's so funny because Boots was there saying at the post-fight interview that he's disappointed because he likes to show off his skills, but he didn't. He wasn't able to. He said, he loves to show off his skills. He's a show off. But he wasn't able to because he was able to blast this guy out in the round. Listeners, Boots is coming. He is coming, and he is the future of that welterweight division. I've said it. In my eyes, he's the future of that division right there. And afterwards, obviously, they've asked him who he wants. He's called out the big names: Errol Spence, Terence Crawford, Keith Thurman, Ugas, all the big names. And the sad part about this, bro, is them lot aren't going to fight him.
He's never getting any of them.
They're not fighting him anytime soon, which is
absolutely
sad. Not. I promise you, none of them man want to fight him anytime soon. And for me, I think his best bet is to fight an eliminator. If he fights an eliminator, he can then be made mandatory for one of the belts, and then obviously they can enforce some form of title shot. But in terms of voluntaries or it's not happening. They're gonna avoid the hell out of him, or they'll wait for him to move up. I don't know, but they want no parts of Boots.
Yeah, his best bet is to force a mandatory position, and more likely than not, one of these men will try to vacate. I'm telling you, who promotes him? Who's his promoter?
It's PBC, isn't it?
But is he?
Oh,
does he shout out Al Heyman? Does he shout out Al Heyman after the fight?
That's how you know if you're side to the. It's true. Shout out Al Heyman. Shout out his.
Because from the looks,
he didn't.
If you're not shouting out Al Heyman, you're not one of the main guys.
He didn't shout out Al Heyman. To be fair, he didn't.
That's what I was looking at. Because I know he's with PBC, but he's not saying, first, I'd like to thank Al Heyman. That's how you know he's not one of. That's how you know he's not getting one of these shots.
And to be fair, I don't really see him with the bust downs and that. So he's probably not all the Al Heyman fighters, they're all chained up, bust down.
Bro, I'm looking at him like, who's his mouthpiece? He doesn't have that. Who's the one making these? Because
he himself, he's not really a mouth. He's actually quite chilled and humble.
Yeah, very humble.
His trainer does more of a talking for him. Like he's actually very relaxed and chilled. Which is sick. But I know he's ranked 3 in IBF, and he said himself he wants to do an IBF eliminator because he wants Spence first. And that's
getting out of town.
But that doesn't that say, bro, doesn't that say about the measure of this guy? He's calling out the one that is probably the scariest, the biggest fish, the one that people consider the boogeyman, Spence, right? He's that guy, Spence. And Boots is going straight at him. He's not targeting Ugas. A lot of people will think probably go for Ugas. That's the weaker one, easiest option. My man said, nah, give me Spence first. If they Jim Gray asked him if he had to pick one, he said Errol Spence. Mad.
All these up and coming guys, it's good to see they're on it.
Yeah. Ortiz is on it. Yeah, they're all on it.
Yeah.
It's so funny because I remember seeing, like, I'm guessing him and Spence are cool, Boots and Spence, and they had a little FaceTime, and Spence was saying, Spence said, "Oh, the puppies can't talk to the big dogs." Spence is, his southern accent. They can't talk to the big dogs. Basically, but the thing is, Boots is doing what Spence did back then. Remember when Spence was up and coming, and he was screaming, "Keep Furman, keep Furman, keep Furman." Mm-hmm. Furman didn't want to know. Furman came up with all kinds of excuses not to fight him.
Furman was doing the same thing he's doing
exactly, and now Spence is doing that. It all comes full circle, and Boots is doing exactly what he's meant to be doing. Spence did the same thing back then. Crawford, when he moved up, he was doing the same thing as well, calling out Keith Furman as well, and all these other guys. So, yeah, man, it's just a shame because I would love these fights, and he's a problem for any of them. He's a problem for all of these guys. I think he beats Ugas personally, and I rate Ugas. Ugas is good.
Yeah.
And then if you do the matchup of Ennis versus Crawford, or Ennis versus Crawford, Ennis versus Spence, I'm having serious discussions, because boy, I'm looking at it seriously, bro. I'm thinking, you know what? He's that talented to me, and yeah, man, he's a problem for any of these guys, and there'll be amazing fights as well. Yeah,
he's done it the good way as well. He's done it the good way, like he's built his craft.
Yep,
he ain't no social media clout kind of boxer who's been elevated like that. He's got 30 fights under his belt or something.
It's 29 fights now. No, 28 fights, 26 wins by KO.
You see, so there's someone who's built up his experience.
Yeah. And
we look at some of these other fights, he's become pay-per-view stars very early. They've not had the same opportunity to build up experience. So two back-to-back great KOs from him now. Yeah.
If it's not an eliminator, it's got to be one of the names, obviously, which is the only names I can think of. Obviously, is Furman, who we don't know where he is, and obviously
Furman won't fight him.
Obviously, Furman's already. I mentioned it. Furman's already doing up. Who's Boots? I've never heard of him. He's already doing that. So, Porter is an option, but obviously Porter's.
The video you sent me, that's what made me know.
Yeah, so listen, Sean Porter, who is the most media-friendly guy, always happy to do analysis and interviews post-fights.
Give his breakdown.
He loves
always
it.
Happy to.
He commentates, he presents, he's got his own podcast, all that. So he's happy in front of the cameras. He loves giving his take. So after the knockout, I can't remember what boxing channel was it? Was it boxing?
Fight
Hype. Yeah. So he's gone up to him and said, "Oh yeah, can I get your thoughts on? Do you want to give your thoughts on the Boots knockout?" Porter looks at me and goes, "Nah. I'm not. I don't want to." I said, "Wow." Porter knows. He knows.
Yeah. You don't want that heat. You don't want any tough questions.
Because you know what question will come? If you were to fight Boots, what would happen?
Would you like to fight Boots?
Or do you want to fight Boots? No. This guy.
He doesn't want to have to say no.
Exactly. Yeah. But yeah, Porter is a guy that is a name. Obviously, he's tied into the fight with Crawford. So maybe down the line, he could potentially fight Crawford. Because if he gets like a big name on his resume, and the fans will start clamoring for the, obviously that will make him more known to obviously the audience, but then they will start clamoring for him fighting these big guys such as Crawford or Spence. But yeah, apart from that, I'm trying to think. Obviously, Danny Garcia is no longer with division, so that would have been a good matchup. Obviously, both from Philly, but yeah, he's no longer there. That's about it, really, man. It's a shame, but these lot are going to avoid him like the plague.
Yeah, I can't even pick who he should fight. Maybe a David, someone who's not really a big name, but is experienced and good. David Avanesian. But even him, he's doing his thing in the UK where he's winning fights and doing well. So I even doubt he'll be down for that one. It's too high risk, low rewards fighting.
Yeah. And I don't want him fighting Ortiz yet because he's also on his own path. And down the line, those two together in a big fight further down the line will be amazing for the division. So not yet. I want them to avoid each other. I don't want them to put them in a situation where both of them have to fight each other and it's like, oh yeah, someone's always got to go in that way. You know, I'd rather they build that one up. Both can take different paths. Obviously, if Ennis is on the IBF path, I'm sure Ortiz is on the. I swear he's on the track to Crawford. I think he is. I think he's on the WBO path. Yeah,
Crawford. I'm not sure if he's mandatory now,
but he's number one. I think. Yeah. Cool. Perfect. All right. We'll see then. Yeah. So that hopefully that happens. We'll see. But yeah, man, Boots is coming. I will keep saying it. He's the future, in my opinion. He's special, man. He's a special talent. He really is.
Yeah. Hopefully see more of him.
Yeah. 100%.
And that's another one. So the two fighters we outlined in terms of there's a few fighters we outlined.
Yeah.
This was another one in our prospects of the year.
Yep. We said Shakur, Boots. Yeah. I think we highlighted Virgil as well.
Virgil Ortiz. We'll do a full recap.
Yeah, we'll definitely recap it and we will review and we'll see what one. Obviously, then we got to add some more, obviously. But yeah, perfect, cool. All right, let's get to it, man. The big one next week, super fight, probably I guess the last super fight of the year. Yeah, well, I think this is probably the biggest fight of the year, anyways. Left of the year. History in the making. Canelo, Caleb Plant for all the marbles in the super middleweight division. So yeah, I want to ask you something, bro. In what scenario can we see, or what scenario do we see Caleb Plant beating Canelo? Can you see any scenario?
I guess the only scenario is if he does a carbon copy of what Mayweather done to Canelo, because that's the only way we've seen Canelo lose.
Yeah.
Does he have the skills to pull that off? Canelo's a much better fighter than what he was back then. We haven't seen Caleb Plant ever deliver that performance, let's be honest, against a higher class opponent. So it'll have to be a magical night for Caleb Plant, or an almost grand opening for Caleb Plant, where we're seeing his full ability on display. If he has that ability, he's got to make Canelo miss. It's got to all be clean. There can't be any scruffy work. It's got to be all clean, make him miss, and make him look silly in there.
Yeah.
And even then, he might not get it. And even then, he might get a draw. So, boy, yeah, it's tough.
Once again, it's a tall tale, right?
You can't knock him out.
In Vegas as well. Boy.
He ain't knocking him out.
The only way I can see a Caleb Plant victory, because I don't think he's going to pull that up. Like you said, he's got to be damn near perfect. Damn near perfect performance, defensively and offensively. And Canelo isn't a crap boxer to allow that to happen. He's a damn good boxer. So the only way I can see anything other than a Canelo victory here is judges. Bad judging. And even that's a tall tale because it's Canelo in Vegas.
Canelo never has bad judging. I mean, bad judging for him.
As I was saying, even that is mad because, like I said, it's Canelo in Vegas. That's a cash cow. But yeah, from a boxing standpoint, I've said it before, man. I don't see who beats this guy at 160 or 168. Wait, no. Yeah, 160 or 168. Yeah, I don't see who can beat this guy.
Yeah. He's going to have to win on a technicality, maybe a cut.
Yeah.
Canelo does lose rounds. He can lose rounds.
Yeah.
Early on, I do expect Caleb Plant to have some success in there. I said, he's a great fighter.
I remember you said that for you when we were looking at, like, obviously the super middle fighters, that Canelo's going to go through. I said I think Billy Joe's going to give Canelo his toughest or the closest fight.
Yeah.
I remember you saying that you felt it would be Caleb Plant. Billy Joe did pretty well, to be fair. And he had great successes in portions, and he was winning rounds in portions before Canelo went and did what he did to him. Do you feel, if we were to measure that against what, obviously we haven't seen it yet, but Caleb Plant, do you feel like Caleb Plant may do better than Billy Joe still, or give a better account of himself?
I doubt it.
You doubt it?
I did give Caleb Plant the best chance of doing it.
Yeah.
Not that he would do it.
Yeah.
You've got to look at the factors in play. This guy's been out the ring. His last fight was Caleb Truax, in which he had a hand injury.
Yeah.
He's coming off a hand injury into fighting Canelo after fighting Caleb Truax. He's not had it's too much of a jump up. At least Billy Joe's mixed it at a high level or fought better opposition. Caleb Plant ain't really beating anyone. I remember at the time I was calling him to fight Benavidez, then go into Canelo. And then we get to see
honestly, Caleb Plant's best win is whose category. That's his best win. His opponents since his category have been shocking. I'm sorry, shocking.
Exactly.
One random American, one random German guy, Caleb Truax, like that's poor. That's a poor caliber opponent.
Up for success. He's not setting himself up for success at all.
That's a poor level opponent, man. No, it's not good enough. And
but
that probably, who knows? And Caleb Plant is capable. I mean, once again, I like to stress this with all of Canelo's opponents because he has that ability to make world-class guys look ridiculous and dumb and trash, as you saw with Callum Smith. Caleb Plant is a bloody good boxer. He's a quality. I'm a big fan of him. He's a sick boxer. Very slick, very good defensively, hard to hit clean, very good counter puncher as well. He's a very good student of a sweet science, right? But it's Canelo. And yeah, Caleb Plant has shocked people before. I think a lot of people had him, they probably thought his category was going to blow him because apparently, remember at that time, his category was feared in that division. They called him the boogeyman. A lot of people didn't want to fight him. James DeGale pretty much, in fact, he did. James DeGale relinquished so he couldn't fight him. Remember, he did. He relinquished so he couldn't fight him. He wanted no parts of him. His category was a problem. I remember he gave Durrell hell. I swear that fight was called, in fact, I think, didn't they fight twice? And the first one, I swear the first one was called a draw or something, which it shouldn't have been. And then, or a DQ, I think. And then it was a DQ. Hang on, let me get it up here. I remember this quite clearly, actually. I swear the first one was something like a DQ, which was unfortunate because he was smashing him up and he got disqualified by accident. And then they ran it back and he blew through him.
Yeah.
He blew through him, battered him.
Caleb Plant bashed him up as well.
And Caleb Plant, he dropped him a couple of times as well. So that was a real surprise for me, as in for a lot of people thought his category was going to do the business. So he is capable of putting out a performance that can shock you out the bag. But his category isn't Canelo. This is a guy who's at the top of his game right now. He's elevated his game each time. Does everything well from a boxer puncher perspective. He can fight in different styles. He can come forward. He can fight on the back foot,
counter punch,
or brawl with you. And he's knocking guys out now. He's breaking faces. So he hits hard. And as you alluded to before, his chin is something else. We've never seen this guy be. I swear, we haven't seen him stumble. He hasn't dropped. He's never done a stanky. It's crazy. He's a machine. So yeah,
tough ass for Caleb Plant. I would like to see him. Yeah, give himself the best possible chance, and I don't think he's done that in the run up to this. And let's not forget, he's got Canelo angry now too. We didn't even discuss the clip of the little brawl they had on the face-off.
Yeah, I think we did when it happened.
I
can't remember, but yeah,
I think we talked about it, but we ain't talked about it on the pod because.
Okay, yeah. So I'm sure
that was a huge help.
Listeners would have seen it, but that face-off, obviously, they're both drawing at each other, talking to each other, and I think Canelo's pushed Plant in anger because Plant apparently called him he said, he called him a motherfucker, right? Canelo took that literally and thought he would say something about his mum. So he's pushed Caleb Plant. Caleb Plant's come back now and tried to swing at Canelo, basically, or slap him. Canelo's done the Matrix dodge. I then hit him back as well whilst dodging. It was the sickest reflexes were fantastic.
Pieced him up.
Pieced him up quickly. Smashed up his glasses. I think cut him as well. Yeah, man, it was peak. And then what was peak for me, was Caleb Plant tried doing propaganda. He posted clips, so it's still on his Instagram as well. He posted clips of, because obviously he was able to sort of like touch him, like brush against him.
Yeah.
Obviously, he's taking that snapshot there, so it looks like his hand has got a full-on connection. And I'm thinking, brother, we saw the clip. What do you mean?
You got pieced up. You got counted and pieced up.
This propaganda ain't gonna work because we saw the clip, man, live or you got touched up. It's okay. It was an big L.
It's because everyone was calling him on the net.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah,
He swing and miss.
Yeah. He only put everything. No, what I could tell his head was rattled because he posted it the first time, and then the second post was the zoomed in.
Like an hour later as well.
That's why I said this.
Sitting there for hours.
This guy his head is hot, burning, steaming. Yeah, man. It was an elder perfect, and he's riled up Canelo. And like I said, I don't think Canelo's the best person to rile up. Billy Joe sort of riled him up, and he went and broke his face. So, yeah, man, boy, it could be peak for Caleb Plant. It really could.
Golovkin riled him up, and he ended up walking down Golovkin.
Man said, "Cool, all right, cool." Canelo said, "Cool. You said I ran. All right, cool. I'm gonna walk forward." So I can't envision anything here other than the Canelo victory, and I think he knocks him out too. I think Canelo stops him, man. He's on. Don't forget, he's on the mean streak of stopping guys. He's on a real mean streak.
He could do. Yeah. Yeah, I like Caleb Plant. He can obviously bounce back from this, but because there's no shame in losing to Canelo. But yeah,
if Caleb Plant wins this is one of the biggest upsets, you know.
Yep.
This is one of the biggest upsets in boxing. Facts.
Yeah. And purely because you can't look to his resume as the reason for him to do this. You can't look to his resume.
Yeah.
You can obviously point to his skills, but then he's not displayed his skills at that level. So, yeah, huge upset it'll be.
He's not the biggest name either, Caleb Plant, I swear.
Yeah, he's not.
I'm pretty sure Billy Joe was a bigger name than him.
Yeah.
And Callum Smith probably was a bigger name than him as well. Agreed. So, yeah, it's that just says how much of an upset this would be. In fact, I'm sure Benavidez is a bigger name than Caleb Plant. Well, obviously, he would draw in Latino fans. Yeah. Caleb Plant is probably the smallest name in that division as the contenders. So it's a major upset. Huge. Like a landscape changing upset in boxing if Caleb Plant pulls this off.
Yeah, that'd be mad. There's a rematch for us though, I'm sure.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course. It's Canelo. And if he does win, I'm happy for him because, like I said, it's the guy I've rated for a long time, and it's a massive win, and we like seeing underdogs win, and that obviously sets up the whole rematch and then potentially a trilogy as well. But yeah, I just can't see it happening, man. I can't see anyone. Like I said it before. I'll keep saying it. At 160 and 168, no one is stopping this Canelo train. The only way he gets stopped is if he goes up to light heavy, or if Andre Ward comes out of retirement.
Andre Ward losing. Stay in time. But the problem is we've seen Canelo have close fights in the past, and where he could have lost or maybe should have lost.
So to me,
we've seen that.
Obviously, one of the Triple G fights questionable, and I still say this to this day. Erislandy Lara beat Canelo in my eyes. I still say this to this day. I still think Lara won that fight. They gave it to Canelo because he's the bigger name, he's the cash cow, he's on to bigger and better things. And the fact that Team Canelo and Oscar at the time said, "Nah, no rematch." We're not. Oscar said, "No, nobody wants to see that." And I'm like, Oscar, yes, I do. Yeah.
Trout gave him hell.
Yes, and Trout did give him hell before he got to him. Yeah, Trout did.
And also, Mayweather, I want to point Mayweather beat him convincingly.
Yeah.
And one of the judges gave it a draw.
Adelaide Bird, whatever her name is.
It might have been.
I think it was Adelaide Bird. But she She's a mad thing. Yeah.
So you're looking at it. So this guy has had every controversial fight in terms of judging has gone his way. So even if you do have a good performance where you think he loses or whatever, the judges have got his back.
Yeah.
So and no one's knocking him out. We ain't seen anyone get close to knocking him out.
I said he's never stumbled, bro.
So yeah, if you can't beat someone on points, you can't knock them out. How the hell are you meant to win?
Dude, that's my point, man. That's my exact point, man. That's such a tall order. No one.
Try to cut him up within a few early rounds. Hopefully the ref calls it off.
And to be fair, Plant has a lot of tools in his favor. He's a lot taller than Canelo, much bigger reach. He's naturally a bigger man. But Canelo is the guy who your physical advantages mean nothing to him, as we saw with Callum Smith, as we saw with all these other super middleweights that he's beaten up, as we saw with Sergey Kovalev. Like, yeah, he's so good, man. He's so good. He's the best in the world. And yeah, man, this is going to be history, man. All 4 belts at super middleweight. That's sick, man. That is so sick. I'm happy he's doing what he's doing as well, because in divisions, in these divisions, as we know, there's too much talking, not enough action. People talk the game, but they don't walk the walk in that. So I'm happy he's got all these guys, and he's been able to run through these guys and collect all the belts. And we know what's next for him if he does this. It's either a Triple G trilogy or it's light heavy.
Or it's just big fights.
Or any big name that, they want him to fight. So if Charlo gets in the ring again, I don't know what Charlo's doing, but yeah, if they want the Charlo fight, he'll do it. Because Canelo's not scared of no one. He doesn't duck anyone. So, yeah.
Yeah. But it's good. I'll tell you what's good to see. Like, in our era of boxing, in our era of watching boxing, we ain't seen Undisputed too many times. We seem to be coming into an era where everyone's chasing Undisputed. It's great to see. Before it was all about big fights and beating the man, almost beating this guy's meant to be the best. Let me face the two best facing off. But now everyone's looking to collect all the straps, which is good to see as well, because there's a lot of names and a lot of people saying they're the best. With social media, everyone's kind of talking and saying they're the best. So having one person control all the belts, I feel like it was pioneered by AJ almost, because he was talking about it.
Yeah, he was.
Vocally talk about it. He's not achieved it. People like Usyk have achieved it. Kevin Crawford have achieved it. But even then, when they achieved it, no one was ranting and raving.
Yeah.
Now it's become a big thing, Undisputed. And I'm liking it. Like, people are arguing about, I'm undisputed now, to female and I'm referring to. So yeah, it's a good era now. Almost like the Undisputed era. Hopefully, all the divisions.
Yeah, but yeah, as I said, we just need all the divisions to clock on and beat about it for real. And yeah, see if we can get those fights as a line. Obviously, in certain divisions, I think the politics obviously are more heavy compared to other divisions. But yeah, if we're seeing one division do it, hopefully the other divisions follow suit, and they jump on. And that's
shout out the women's boxing. No, they've been doing that.
They've been doing it, man. They've been doing it. They've been doing it. They'll go up and then come back down and do it. It's crazy, man. They just do it whenever and wherever, man. So shout out to them. But yeah, it's the big one next week. I'm gonna make sure I'm watching that. If I've taken that beforehand, I'll wake up, I'll do it, because yeah, man, it's a big ass fight. And yeah, man, it's Canelo's era for real. It really is his era, It really is. Yeah, go on, sorry.
Interested to see what next for him if he does win it.
I'm really intrigued to see. I suspect it might be a light heavy thing,
I want to see that, man.
Because people will keep going. I'm sure he's hearing it as well. The whole Beterbiev, go fight one of these, man. Beterbiev. And because he's that type of guy that doesn't back down from nothing and is so proud of himself, I feel like he will try and make that move. Especially as we've already seen him up there once already. Yeah, I think that could be the move,
No, that's ridiculous. If he does that,
and that's when
let's see if he wins first.
I was gonna say that because that's when we've got to have some serious discussions. If we see Canelo smoking these, man, some real discussions have to be had. I'm sorry.
there's already initial question marks about him with the whole Mexican meet.
Yep.
There's question marks about Eddie Reynoso's camp now with what happened with Oscar Valdez.
Yep.
So if he's touching 175 after fighting at 140, 147, 140, he started at 140, though.
Yeah. No,
when he was 15.
I think 147. Was it 147?
Maybe 147. But
yeah,
we either say he's too small for 160.
Yep.
So
if we see him at 175 and he's piecing these men up, as in stopping them, beating them up, taking their punches easily,
walking them down,
some serious discussions have to be had. I'm sorry, because that is, especially when it's it's Beterbiev, who is one of the hardest punchers in the world. Stopped all his opponents, literally. Nah. Some serious discussions have to be had. I'm sorry, but we'll see.
I even just remembered when he went up and fought Kovalev. I had Kovalev winning.
Yeah.
By the time the knockout was the 11th round.
Yeah.
I was like, brother, he's losing this fight.
But the judge, I said he's losing this fight. But the judge had him winning. Yeah, I was gonna say judges won't see it. The judges won't see it. Kovalev was jabbing his face off, and I was even getting another Kovalev because Kovalev is a killer normally, like a hard punch. He wasn't sitting down. Kovalev was boxing the back foot. Never seen that before, and he wasn't sitting down in his punches. Never seen that before in my life. I said to myself, "What's going on?
This guy's a legit killer."
Kovalev was one of the most feared punchers in the world at the time. I'm thinking to myself, what the hell is going on here? And even the stoppage, like Canelo put it on him once, and Kovalev crumbled. Yeah. I said, nah, you're taking the piss, Kovalev. I swear he got accused of taking a dive in that fight. I swear he did.
A lot of people say it's a fake fight.
Yeah, he did. He got accused of taking a dive because Kovalev was there smiling afterwards. Happy.
Yeah, a lot of people say that was a fake fight.
Yeah.
My man crumbled after he got stuck.
Canelo pulled it on once. Nah, I said, what the hell was going on here? Science fishy.
People say the Callum Smith was a fake fight because I've said it before, I've said it many times. Callum Smith is a big puncher. What I saw, in fact, yeah. If Canelo goes up to 175 and starts doing that to Beterbiev, we'll discuss.
Yeah, we're talking. We're having serious words, bro. No cap. But yeah, listeners, make sure you tune in for that one, November the 6th. Massive fight. History about to be made. I can't wait for it, man. I really can't.
Yeah.
Let's touch upon some boxing news, bro. It's been fairly eventful. In terms of like upcoming fights and whatnot. Let's talk about the proposed David Benavidez versus Uzcategui fight, which unfortunately has been cancelled. And that's because Uzcategui has tested positive for PEDs. It's a damn shame. So that one's been cancelled. I don't know if they're gonna try and find a replacement opponent for David Benavidez, or just gonna scrap the whole date fully. But interesting indeed.
Interesting. They didn't even wait for a B sample, I heard. It's just A sample.
Yep.
And I have no issue with that if someone tests positive. But this is who's he with? PBC?
Yeah, it was category with PBC. His last couple of fights been on PBC. So is Benavidez is PBC, isn't he? So yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. Shame as well, because that's a good fight. We said that Benavidez needs to keep busy because all the action seems to be happening around him, and he wasn't able to get any of his fights. And I'm sure he's looking to challenge straight away. After this Caleb Plant Canelo thing is done, I'm sure he's going to be calling out the winner's name straight away. And I would like to see that in it. So, yeah, this was a good keep busy fight for him against a credible opponent. But, yeah, shame. Big shame.
Yeah. It's a shame. I like to see him out.
Yeah. But let's talk about the other major news. It's quite shocking, actually. Some developments we're seeing with the Gervonta Davis versus Rolando Romero fight, which is in December, isn't it? It's meant to be in December. But we saw a report that apparently PBC or Showtime or whatever is going to be on, or maybe promotions are looking for a new opponent, potentially looking for a new opponent for Tank, because of over the weekend, a number of women have come out and accused Rolly Romero of sexual assault. I think 5, 6 or whatever, a good number of women have come out and, you know, accused him of sexual assault. So yeah, they're looking for a new opponent for Tank. They're looking at pulling off Rolando Romero and replacing him with someone else, because obviously they don't want to associate someone with that's going through this and whatnot. But that's pretty shocking and sad news, I must say. Yeah, boy, peak.
Yeah, it's nuts. Yeah, hopefully they get to the bottom of it, and whatever happens. But yeah, it's delayed kind of what we wanted to see in terms of fights. It's not a big fight that everyone was looking forward to be honest. But Rolly Romero is someone who talks a lot. He's almost in that mix between them. So
yeah,
it would have been good to see how that unfolded. It's a fight I would have tuned in for.
We saw the press. I would have tuned in 100%. We saw the presser. Yeah. Obviously, they don't like each other. Some questionable smack talk from Rolly. But yeah, Tank doesn't like him. And he doesn't like Tank. And yeah, he's been going at all these guys, to be honest. So yeah, it would have been something to see for sure. But yeah, no, they both do the right thing. And yeah, they put him in it. And if they do find an opponent, it's interesting because quite a few people, I think, have come out and said they're happy to fight Tank as a replacement. One being a said Regis Prograis, who his tweet was funny to me. I said, I'll fight his little ass. Obviously, I read these tweets in all their accents, right? So I'm just, I said, I'll fight his little ass on short notice.
See if he takes it.
Obviously, Gervonta isn't one to, you know, take disrespect. He fired back, saying, you know, oh, I heard Shakur gave you some issues in sparring or whatever. I retire you.
Too. Shit, we heard that too.
Straight from the horse's mouth, right? What's his name? Yeah, he said, oh yeah, I'll happily retire you or whatever. Obviously, Regis is like, obviously he fired back. You know, he said something else, basically at Tank, saying, I think calling him basically a bum or something like that. And yeah, it's interesting, but that fight's never gonna happen. That's not happening.
Yeah. We don't even entertain. Well, we entertain. We like to watch this the Twitter back and forth, but it doesn't give us any hope or any insight into any fight.
Yeah, Mayo Promotions will never put Tank in with Regis. That's too risky for them. And the thing is, that fight will be mad because someone's getting knocked out. Yeah. Regis is a monster, as we know. Tank hits like a train. They both hit like trains. They're both super powerful, but yeah, it's too risky for Mayo Promotions. They're going to give Tank an easier opponent than that, I think. And it's at 135. Regis is there saying, yeah, I can make 135, no problems. Relax, brother. Chill. It's not gonna happen. Yeah. But it was cool back and forth.
Yeah, it is. Hopefully they get someone decent for Tank. It's good to see him. He's been more active recently. Well, he was looking more active recently, so it's a bit of a shame.
What, in terms of in the ring?
Yeah. He's been more active than we've recently seen. So he was out last when against Mario Barrios.
Yep.
And then end of last year, he was against Leo Santa
Cruz. Yep.
Well, I said more active. That's 2 fights. Which is more than what he usually does.
No, but obviously once one, them not going to Mayover's going to make sure he gets his money. He's a pay-per-view star now, so Mayover's going to make sure. And yeah, for most pay-per-view fighters, it's always a 2 fight a year thing, isn't it?
Yo, Canelo.
He's an anomaly. He's different. But for a lot of pay-per-view fight, like, remember Mayweather, same model. Mayweather used to fight twice a year.
That's it.
Close, obviously, Cinco de Mayo, and then towards the end of the year.
Mexican independence. You always like September. I always fought against Latin American fight.
Mayweather was so funny, man. He knew what he was doing. Yeah, so exactly what he was doing. Those 2 dates were like in sort of like within the business. Cinco de Mayo and the Mexico Independence Day, you just knew that that's Mayweather's date. Don't go on that day. If you've got a big fighter, don't go on those 2 days. Those are Mayweather days only. But yeah, Mayweather did the same thing. Twice a year he'll fight.
AJ same.
Yep, AJ was the same as that tends to be the pay-per-view model for pay-per-view stars. So yeah, I'm not surprised that's what Tank's doing. For you, do you feel like these fighters should stretch to 3 times a year, if possible?
I think certain fighters, I think for their development as well, it's better to be more active.
Yeah,
every fight needs to be on pay-per-view. I feel that pay-per-view model where I'm gonna fight twice a year, you're missing out on a bunch of learning fights, a bunch of chance to gain experience.
Yeah.
If a fight's not pay-per-view, don't make it pay-per-view. This whole pay-per-view stuff, I think I'm not huge on. I think it should be pay-per-view fights as such.
The big ones,
the big ones.
Yeah, so I agree.
Back like it was before Mayweather came on the scene, and even before Oscar De La Hoya almost.
He started it. De La Hoya was
he was the first pay-per-view star almost. So pay-per-view fights. If you're someone like AJ, I think it's hampered AJ. Let's talk about AJ for a second. It's hampered AJ's because he can't have learning fights or take fights off. Every fight's got to be a big fight because he's been pay-per-view since his 16th fight. Yeah, when he should have been fighting 3-4 times a year at 16 fights.
His first pay-per-view fight was what? Was it Dylan White?
Yeah, Dylan White.
Yeah.
And since then, pay-per-view. So he's been fighting twice a year since his 16th fight. He's only on how many fights now? 20-something?
Yeah. 20.
So now,
yeah.
Now he can't. He's got to run it back with Usyk straight away. He can't go and say, "I want to take a few fights off." But if he was done a few fights on pay-per-view, some off pay-per-view where he was fighting people, he would have been learning and gaining.
When you look at how many fights he's had and what he's achieved, like it's been full tilt from fight number 13 or whatever. He hasn't had back then. A lot of these heavyweights, they'll at least have a lot of fights under their belt before they would have learned that. Which is why we always say AJ is technically still learning on the job because he never had that sort of like education and that's it.
30 fights before he
exactly. Exactly. A lot of these heavyweights would have about 30 fights before they're challenging and whatnot. But he was having world title fights at fight number 15, 16, Charles Martin, right? So I hear what you're saying, and I do agree in the sense that if you're up and coming, for educational purposes, you have to be fighting multiple times a year, way more than twice a year. It's only when you're at the peak and you're super established, then you can sit back on the whole pay-per-view model twice a year.
Yes.
Earlier in the year, later in the year, boom. But that's when you're at the peak of your powers, your levels, your experience, you've had your education and whatnot. Yeah, that's how I think it should be as well for development purposes.
When you look at Canelo's had 50 fights before he became pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Mayweather as well. When he fought Oscar De La Hoya, that's when he became the big pay-per-view star. I know he had a few before with like Zab Judah and Arturo Gatti, but when he became a pay-per-view star, that was like 30 plus
I think it was like I can't remember when Mayweather was pay-per-view, but I think the Gatti fight was what really then like changed it. But then obviously him, because De La Hoya was the cash king at the time, but obviously when De La Hoya's faded and him taking out De La Hoya, he then took his place as the cash cow of boxing. And that's when he then started, calling his own shots and whatnot. When he left Bob Arum and did his own thing. Yeah. And
even after that, he had plenty of learning fights. He'd moved through divisions at that point
as
well.
Yeah.
So, it does. I think it hindered AJ. I don't want it to hinder Tank because Tank's still early in his career. He's not had too many fights.
20-something fights now. Yeah, 24 fights or something like that. Yeah.
He should have been way more active before this pay-per-view.
I swear, Tank became pay-per-view after that Pedraza win. I don't know if it was on pay-per-view before, but it was when he.
Yeah, it might be the Pedraza.
I don't think
his first pay-per-view was Leo Santa Cruz, no?
Was that Tank's first pay-per-view?
I think it might have been,
Oh, okay. Oh.
I think that might be his first headline pay-per-view, yeah.
So Gambo and them fights there weren't pay-per-view?
I don't think so,
Really?
Well, I might be wrong.
Let's see if I can quickly check now.
Yeah, if I'm wrong, I hold my hands up. But I'm sure.
I was under the impression that all them fights were pay-per-view,
I don't think so,
Let's check.
It doesn't make a difference. I ain't pay for any.
Oh, no, you're right. Yeah. Santa Cruz is the first one. Yeah. And then Barrios now, and now, well, it's meant to be Rolly, but yeah. Interesting.
So he should have been way more active back then because even then he was fighting sparingly. He wasn't fighting regularly.
Yeah, so he wasn't. Yeah. Yes, I remember because I was saying that I'm annoyed with Mayweather Promotions because they're not getting Tank out enough.
Yeah,
he's fight because remember, don't forget the issue with Mayweather fight is a lot of guys signed to Mayweather would only fight when Mayweather fought.
Yeah,
remember they would only fight on his undercard, and this guy was fighting once or twice a year. Obviously, later on in his career, Mayweather was only fighting once a year. So I'm thinking, how are your fighters going to get better? That's why a lot of these guys signed to Mayweather. They're just sitting there stagnating, just chilling, doing like, what are they doing? They would only fight on his undercards. Like, but Jack would fight once a year. But do Jack,
yeah.
And it used to annoy me because it's like he's really good and he's got to be active. So I remember the conversation now because it used to annoy me with Mayweather fighters. I used to say to people, don't sign to Mayweather because he's only going to put you on his undercards, and you'll be chilling for a year. Yeah, I'm sure that's why Savannah Marshall left. I swear.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. If she stayed with Mayweather, she will be nobody. Right? Yeah.
Even if you look at Vidal Riley.
Yeah,
he signed with Mayweather. He's fought 3 times, and I think he's retired from boxing.
Wow.
Huge mistake signing with Mayweather Promotions, in my opinion. In my opinion, he should have gone to the Olympics. Because we're going off track here, but let me speak on it. My man could have been a pay-per-view star in the UK because he has the whole YouTube boxing. He brings that YouTube audience, and he's a legitimate talent.
Yeah,
a legitimate talent. That's why Mayweather Promotion signed him, because the guy can box. He should have gone to the Olympics, done that, even though it was delayed by COVID, which obviously would have delayed his year. He shouldn't have just gone pro. Gone to the Olympics, built up a UK audience in terms of everyone loving him. Signed with a UK promoter. He would have been a pay-per-view star very early as well.
Yeah,
he would have been making bank. But now he's more of a YouTuber, so who knows? Yeah,
Riley, he fought once in 2018 and twice in 2019 and then once in 2020. And that was it.
And that's somebody should have had 5 fights in his first year as a pro.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
Yes.
And when you look at Mayweather camp, obviously Tank has made it big. But like, he had all these guys signed to him and they didn't really do niche. Like, I remember Luis Arias, he didn't do niche.
Yeah,
Andrew Tabiti. I saw him in the World Boxing Super Series, the Cruiserweight edition, the tournament.
Yeah,
he looks all right, but he eventually lost. Obviously, Jalen Love, ladies love Love. He was always in the cut, but he never really. I know he had 1 or 2 title challenges, but he never really did much.
Yeah,
man. Obviously, Badu Jack was a champion at multiple weight classes, but he was too inactive for my liking. That's part and parcel of obviously Mayweather is I don't know how active, I don't know how hands-on he still is with boxing. Obviously, he turns up to press conferences and whatnot, but I'm pretty sure he leaves the whole running to Leonard, right?
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure.
He's a doofus anyway.
And he's a bit of a bozo, so I hate going on Twitter, man. It just infuriates me. LB.
Oh man, he rides out for his fighters though, but this guy talks
he talks rubbish. Nonsense. Talks absolute nonsense, man. And he hates on other fighters. If you're not Mayweather, he will hate on you.
Yeah. Yep.
AB was right. I know you already get. Shut up, man. You already against me.
That's a bitch ass nigga too.
The bitch ass. Shut that soft on shit.
Free
AB was right though. AB was right.
Yeah. Oh man, that was funny.
Always funny, man. Always funny when it comes to AB. Always funny. I don't even know. That brother got locked up again, didn't he?
Yeah, that's why free him, man. I don't even know what he done.
Free twin.
Free twin.
Oh, he needs to retire already, man. Boxes off for him. Boxes off for him. He said he wants to go back to the streets. Let him go back to the streets.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Let's say we wrap it up there. Covered all we need to cover. Once again, I stress to our listeners, make sure you tune in to Canelo Caleb Plant next week. Massive fight. Probably the last mega fight of the year. I can't wait for it. I'm looking forward to seeing Canelo make history. But if Caleb Plant wins this, wow. And Caleb Plant isn't food. He's a brilliant boxer. So if he boxes out of his skin and does it, fair play to him. But yeah, man, I just can't see anyone stopping this Canelo train right now, man. He's too good. He's that good. But yeah, this is episode 62 of the SZN Podcast. Once again, I've been your boy Cam.
I'm your boy Flows.
And make sure you check us out on all the streaming platforms. Peace.
Get a strap. I'm strapped up.
What's happening? What was that about?
Let's make the fight happen. We strapped the fuck up.